There were so many instances when I was studying engineering at school where people were constantly trying to beat the curve. Even I was trying to beat the curve. Every finals weeks, both my friends group, my family would constantly tell me, make sure you beat the curve or you need to beat the average. That mindset of just beating the average made me feel like I was on this never ending cycle where I knew I wasn't going to be happy with any grade I got. I found it interesting how I would be learning about proteins and how it affected production of new cell growth and how that factored into cancer formation. Instead of thinking about how I can cure cancer or to find different ways to cure cancer, I was trying to find ways to study the material the fastest way possible so I can beat the average. I would sometimes think to myself, like when I was studying, like, wow, this sucks. I feel like crap. Isn't there something screwed up about just learning how to beat the average rather than actually trying to learn the material? Every class I was in, I thought this way. Maybe it's the school system and how it's structured, but I'm not trying to talk about the education system because that's for another video. But what I'm trying to say is trying to beat this curve made me this competitive individual that clogged my mindset. When I got to college, a friendly competition to just beat the average manifested into this unstoppable force where I would use my competitiveness to judge the people I would talk to, the people I hung out with, even the people that I would go out with to party with. I believe a major cause of my depressive mood swings back in 2012 was because I was being too competitive. Overcoming my negative mindset meant that I had to change my view on competition. And that's where I started to take on this ambitious mindset. What's the difference? Well, in competition, you're constantly telling yourself, I need to beat someone in every aspect of life. But being ambitious, see, you're more gentle with your thoughts. And you say things like, I'm going to be the best person I can be right now, as a friend, as a student, or a podcaster or a YouTuber like me. There's a drastic change here. I went from a place of fear and scarcity to a place of gratitude, a place of service to myself. So when I took a test, instead of telling myself I'm going to beat the person next to me, I decided I was going to beat my previous score. Or going to the gym, instead of sizing myself up to the other guy, I decided to keep track of how I was progressing from my previous weeks. But, there are points where competitiveness is a good thing. In sports, athletes need to be competitive to win. That's just the nature of sports. Even in politics, you need to be competitive so you can win a major election. But even with those examples, both athletes and politicians need to have those mental checkpoints along the way to assess how they're improving their game or craft. That's how you don't burn out in sports or have those mental breakdowns. And that's what I think you need to have, which is a combination of both competitiveness and ambitious. Because you see, like the idea of one-upping each other comes from a very unstable and fearful place. Being ambitious comes from a place of security, a confident foundation, because being ambitious only deals with you and your mind only. In the art of being mindful, when you're competitive with someone else, catch yourself. Ask, is this coming from a place of fear or is it coming from an internal drive to be the best version of yourself possible?